In this video, we're going to have a look at the solution to the example at the end of the right of use of motor vehicle video. Just as a reminder, the example dealt with Leslie, who had a vehicle, and in the previous example, in the previous video, we already calculated the value of the private use of the vehicle. So we had calculated that to be 65,475 Rand. You can go back to the previous video to see how we calculated that. Now we're going to have a look at the adjustments that are done on assessment. If you're asked to calculate taxable income, you will need to do these adjustments where relevant. But you must remember in practice that this is something that SARS adjusts on the assessment of a taxpayer. The taxpayer will have to submit all the records and information when they submit their tax return at the end of the tax year. So the first adjustment that we're going to do is, because Leslie kept a logbook, we are able to adjust the private use for her actual business use. So we can reduce the amount that she's going to be taxed on. So we take the private use that we calculated and we multiply it by the business kilometers divided by the total kilometers to get a proportion. And that gives us 24,943 Rand. Then the question tells us that she also paid the actual cost of the license for the period that she had the motor vehicle. So that we're allowed to deduct the actual cost that she paid of 800 Rand. And then lastly, it also tells us that she was responsible for all fuel costs. So we can adjust her fuel costs for the private use of the vehicle, and we can reduce her fringe benefit. But the question doesn't actually give us an actual amount, but if it did, we're not allowed to use it. We need to use the employee-owned vehicle table, which you'll find in all SARS documents, at the end of the exam paper if you're writing an exam, at the end of most textbooks. This table comes out every year. It's updated with the budget speech. Sometimes it doesn't change, sometimes it does. And we need to use the determined value of 202,300 Rand. And that falls in the table between 170,000 and 255,000 Rand. Now all we need to read off the table in this instance is the fuel cost. But please note that the fuel cost is given to us in cents and it's per kilometer. So if we go back to our calculation, we take the 116 cents from the table and we convert it to rands by dividing by 100, because there's 100 cents in every rand. And we multiply that by the private kilometers. Now this is not explicitly given in this question, but we can work it out because the total kilometers were 21,000 and the business kilometers as per the logbook were 8,000. So the difference between the two of 13,000 will be the private kilometers. If we multiply that by the 116 cents converted to rands, we get 15,080 Rand deduction against the private use. This gives us the value of the fringe benefit that will be included in Leslie's gross income. Remember, fringe benefits are specific inclusion in gross income, and that will be an amount of 24,652 Rand.